Mr. Chair, we are live and recording. You can begin whenever you wish.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Committee of the Whole meeting for August 27th, 2025. Before we begin, I would like to remind you that the open part of the meeting is being recorded and live streamed on our Township YouTube channel. And I would like to call the roll. Please raise your hand and state your presence when I call your name. Mayor Watson.
Good morning.
Deputy Mayor Nelson. Councillor Landsman. Councillor Johnson. And staff attending this morning, CAO Todd Davis. Good morning. Clerk Deputy CAO Martina Chait Hardwick. Good morning. Fire Chief Chuck Pedersen. Morning. Manager of Recreational Facilities Mike Bood. Morning, Mike. Manager of Public Works Jake Connon will be absent today, and in his place, I believe our CAO will be taking over his part of the meeting. CBO Don Hellman. Morning, Don. And last but not least, Treasurer Paul Kramer. Good morning, everyone. And with a quorum of the committee in attendance, I will call the meeting to order at 10:01. Our land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that we were on the lands which are part of the 1818 Treaty 20 and the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe bands of the Great Ojibwe Nation. We offer our gratitude to the Ojibwe for their care and knowledge of the lands on which we work, live, and enjoy. May we honor and respect their teachings and our treaty obligations as we grow together. And I'll ask members of the committee if they have any pecuniary interest. Seeing none. Okay, we're going to do the adoption of the agenda, amended agenda, but I would like to ask all of the department heads if there's anything particular right now that you have to get to. We can move your session up. If not, we will just accept it as it's listed in the book here. Seeing none, all right. If I will get a motion then to adopt the amended agenda for this morning, please. Councillor Johnson, Councillor Landsman. Any comments, questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. All right. Then we have no delegations, petitions, or presentations. So we'll start off with number 6, reports, managers' updates, and move on to 6.1. And Martina, I believe you were taking this one from Orca. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The document that's before you is an annual report from the Otonabee Region Conservation Authority. They produce a permitting report every year, and so this is for the committee's information. And if there's questions, we can ask Orca to answer those for you.
Thank you very much. I'll open up to the committee. Is there any comments, questions on the report from Orca? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to receive the report. Deputy Mayor Nelson. Councillor Johnson. Any comments, questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. All right, moving right along, we will start out with the fire department. Chuck, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Good morning, thank you. Just a few things to highlight in the report that's been provided. Our cancer prevention grant for the Office of the Fire Marshal has been extended for year 2. They have doubled the money from 10 million to 20 million, and what we expect is probably about 64,000. So we're making plans based on that expected amount. So that's good news for us, and it's all about cancer prevention initiatives. So last year we did some proper bunker gear extraction equipment. So this year, and we got some particulate hoods, a little bit better upgrade for the firefighters' protection. So we're looking at other options that we can utilize this fund for the scope that it is. So that's good news for us. As you're aware that we're, like many others around us, we're still in a burn ban situation. There's a couple municipalities that have lifted total bans, and they're moving to just campfire type of restrictions. So we are in correspondence with the other municipalities, and we're in better shape. We're moving the right direction, but we're not in excellent shape yet. Some other areas are a little bit better than we are, but even our township is very different from one area to the other, because you can have rain in a very localized area and then nothing, 100 feet away. So we're monitoring all those and trying to make the best average. The forecast right now has been updated to 10 to 15 millimeters rain on Thursday for a longer period. It's not a flash flood situation. So those are all positive things, and we'll be reassessing that Thursday afternoon. And if we get what we hope that we're going to get, then we would probably look at considering lifting the burn ban and having a evening campfire only, go back to the no daytime burning that we started with, looking at that for the long weekend. So that would be effective Friday if things line up the way that we anticipate. So now with the temperature swings, we're also getting good dew points in the morning. So that's also a positive and helps us mitigate those risks to keep them into the evening and no daytime burning. So that's where we're looking at that. The other thing, I guess, just to note, I was earlier this spring, I think it was end of March or maybe April, we the EMS dispatching system changed to a medical priority dispatching system. So that's changes. There's a lot more categories. They drill down a lot more questions. We anticipated a reduction in medical calls for the fire department. So based on April 1st of this year to the 25th of August versus last year, same time period, we are down 15%. So that's kind of what we expected, about that 15%. So the one other risk is that with that priority system is that they can dispatch EMS units to higher priority calls. Even if they've been dispatched to a lower priority, they can now move it to that higher priority, which sometimes means the fire department could be on scene for a lot longer than they used to be. So we're not experiencing that yet. Our average time on scene has only been increased by 4 minutes compared to the previous year in the same time period. So we'll monitor that. The biggest window there that seems to be the challenge across the province is motor vehicle accidents when we have those non-injury accidents, the first snow type of thing where everyone's just sliding off the roads. Those ones there we'll monitor. There are some examples throughout the province for getting waivers, which is not something typically the fire departments have done. So we'll monitor that before we bring any next steps if we have to try to mitigate those things. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have on my report.
Thank you very much, Chuck. I'll open it up to the committee. Any comments, questions to the fire chief? Mayor Watson, floor is yours.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Chair. Through you to the chief. Chief, there's a couple of items that have come up in conversation over the last couple of months since the last committee. And one is something that you and I talked about, the certification, the pumper certification as it relates to insurance and homeowners calling saying that it's not certified when it is. And I'm just wondering if you can give us a bit of an update or speak to that a little bit. And secondly, one concern that is of growing concern to the community is around the amount of tinder that's in our woods since the ice storm and the previous 2022 storm, whether it's on public property or private property. And of course, we're seeing, and I know our manager of public works isn't able to speak to it today, but illegal dumping on both public and private property. I'm wondering if there's anything that we're doing from an education prevention standpoint to educate residents about cleaning the brush up off their property so that, maybe not this year, although, we're super lucky that, people have been following our burn ban, but could be a lightning strike or something else. And there's a lot of risk to structure damage on private property. So are we doing anything from an education outreach standpoint to help mitigate that?
Sure. Thank you for the questions. Through the chair to the mayor. So the first one, the tanker shuttle accreditation. So I'm on the rural suburban committee for the Ontario Association of Fire Chiefs, and it was something that was brought up. So I'm on the committee to explore those challenges and opportunities, I guess. So what we've discovered trying to work with Insurance Bureau of Canada, I guess the Coles Notes version on that wasn't really exactly what we're hoping, but it basically comes down to each insurance company has the right to work with whatever company they wish to. So there's no real influence to say that one accreditation has to be accepted over another accreditation body. So seeing it really comes back down to the individual company. So if the company that we use, if they choose to go and try to, knock on insurance companies' doors and say, here's what we do, and you should recognize our certificate, then that's their choice to either do that or not do that. It's not really our place to try to advocate for that particular company. So we're seeing this trend, and we're seeing the emails about people not getting the protection that they were used to get that recognition. So the fire underwriters survey, that seems to be one that most companies are recognizing. So we are planning on working towards doing that certification. And we may do the certification early, just because we know that the one that we have, there seems to be more companies not recognizing that than compared to when we did it last time. So that's how we're trying to get that back into. So we'll still have the certificate that we have. It's still valid. It still meets our commercial rating. If you have a company that doesn't recognize it, then an individual can choose to shop around to find one that does recognize it. But we also recognize that there may be some writing on the wall there, and we are working towards probably going with the fire underwriter survey certification program in the future. And hopefully we may be able to do that prior to our 5-year recertification, just to try to shorten that gap a little bit. So we did ours last year. So whether it's next year or the year after, that'll kind of be our target. There's a lot of work to be done with dry hydrant data, drought measurements, and then there's a whole process of paperwork that we have to file for our vehicles and our trucks and our equipment and our people and the training. So we're starting to go through that process now. And that's kind of where our target will be. So hopefully that answers that one. Okay, so the brush, so timely on the weekend, we were invited up to the White Lake Cottage Association meeting. So I attended there myself, and these types of questions have come up. So really, we talked about the best thing that we can deal with is we left them brochures and checklists and stuff, but is the Fire Smart program. So what we talked about is the 0 to 1.5 meters is your immediate threat area away from your home, and then the 1.5 to 10 meters, there's strategies that you can put into place to help, reduce fire loading. And if there is a fire, then try not to get it to get it so that's going to come to your home, and then beyond that to 10 to 30 meters. So there's different strategies that they can do. There's guidebooks that help you. There's home self-assessment checklists. So those are the things, it's not really reasonable to say we're going to go out and clean up the forest. We understand that there's a lot of deadfall that are out there, and there is fire loading that's happening. But it's pretty much impossible to say we're going to clean all that up. So it's really about trying to be fire smart in those environments. That urban, I know we're not really urban, but that urban to the forest type of living that we have. So just trying to take those principles in place, and moving those loads outside of those zones, giving extra space, cleaning up your needles, and making sure single pane doesn't do very good against heat, versus double pane windows and doors and seals on your garage and the eaves trough, and making sure that's cleaned out. What type of roof do you have? Because we know that if we get into crown fires, sparks can travel up to 2 kilometers. So if they land in your eaves troughs that's full of needles, that's when we have problems. If it's a cedar shake roof that's not protected with any type of fire coating, that can be problematic. But if you have asphalt or steel, then obviously those are non-combustible items. So those are, and those are all scores and checklists that we have in that assessment checklist, so to really to look at how well you're doing with your home, or how, how you could actually make some changes to help. So pruning up the trees, 2 meters from the ground. So if there is a ground fire, it doesn't become a crown fire, which is a lot hotter and more dangerous. And that's the one that's spread even faster and harder to control. So those are the things that we're trying to get out there from those type of conversations. And plus we're pushing that out with our social media stuff as well, trying to promote fire smart initiatives. And we're in the midst of putting up our grant that we got to put up signs that'll be throughout the township. I believe there's 6 locations, and we're going to move those signs annually to change up so people have new information. And a lot of that is focusing on fire smart.
Chair, just to follow up, thank you for that. And I appreciate the knowledge that you're sharing today around that kind of at a high level as it relates to Fire Smart. And I know that, it's great that you were out at the White Lake meeting. And I know that as I've been out at community meetings, having conversations with people referencing Fire Smart, I wonder if there's an opportunity, given the fact that our community, and I say not just Douro-Dummer, but the broader community was so heavily hit, if there's an opportunity perhaps later on this year to hold some sort of, educational Fire Smart session where, we can be on hand to answer questions or talk about that buffer zone and what people can do to protect their own structures and take care of themselves. And I know, Chief, we've talked about, the first 48 hours and beyond the first 48 hours, but so I wonder if there's, I don't know if it's from a budget standpoint or time, how we could make that work, but if there's an opportunity before we get into the next winter stormy seasons and we're, it's not fire specifically, but it's all around emergency preparedness, where we can have a session to invite the public to learn more information. Maybe it's in partnership with neighboring municipalities or in partnership with the library. So I'll just float that out there as an idea. I don't think it's an emotion of direction or emotion that's needed, but I think that beyond the social media and beyond going to, small group to small group and having these conversations, if people who are concerned can come and learn and are invited to come and learn, then that might make the city, the community much more resilient down the road.
Through the chair, we'll certainly take that under advisement and see if we can create something, whether we partner up, if there's other municipalities that are interested, or we do something on our own. We'll certainly investigate that.
Councillor Johnson.
Yeah, through the chair. First of all, Chuck, I want to thank you for your employees coming over to the Warsaw benefit last Saturday. These things are it was a benefit for the right reasons, but the thing is, it's a community event, and it's nice to see the different groups of people that come out to help for on these benefits. So I must really say thanks for you guys supporting that. The other thing is about the brush. Now, we were at the Birchview do there back a while ago. And one of the things one of the guys brought up, which I think is something we really want to look into it, is that maybe we should, once a year, maybe June, July, whatever, for a couple of weeks, open up our landfill site again, that we can get people to take brush. A free thing that we can come up with. And for maybe 2 weeks, I can't say a month, but maybe 2 weeks, because there's brush every year, new brush every year. And and it is just throwing, not necessarily right to the neighbor next door, but right around the area, they just pound it off anywhere. And it was recommended that we look into that we do it once a year. And I think that would help a lot too. Anyways, I'm going to bring up that down the road, but I'm going to say that it is, I think a lot of people got their eyes open on this brush. Like there's so much of it that's laying around and it's just waiting for an accident to happen. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess through the chair to Councillor Johnson. Yeah, it's obviously not my decision to whether they're going to open that up or not, but any opportunity that we can have to mitigate fire loading is a good idea. The other piece of that, and I know I'm harping fire smart here, but it's the same analogy we talk about with a lot of people have wood stoves, and we don't just go in and put the match to the wood, right? We don't try to light the log because that's not gonna happen. But we have to break it down and make it small pieces to support a fire, and then that's gonna, turn into, igniting that log. So the same as these type of things, like there's so much, even though there's a pile there that can be fuel loading, we can manage that a lot better if we take some of these initiatives and reduce the chances of fire spreading to that through the Fire Smart programming. So I agree, anything that we can get rid of reduces the amount of fuel load that could be there in the event of a fire. Sometimes it's just not, either people, I think one of the challenges is trying to have a trailer or whatever to take it somewhere. So if we can't do those things, then also, consider the Fire Smart initiatives about trying to reduce fire getting to that fire load, if you will. So that's all I'll say about that, but I'll leave your comments or your recommendation to do those things between you and the other staff members and council. Thank you.
Councillor Lansman.
Chair, to. Go ahead. Just a comment about the debris or gardens or whatever around homes. I think that there are, I'm only speaking for the area that I live in, I think there are very, very few who have nothing against their house. They have garden or they have little shrubs or, I don't, because I do. And I think it's worrisome, but I don't know that you can tell people that they can't do it. They have to decide that they don't want to do it. So that was just my comment.
Sure, through the chair to Councillor Lansman. Yeah, as I agree, this is not, it's not an enforcement issue. It's just if you want to try to protect your home and either as an individual or as a neighborhood or whatever, you can work together. There's plants and trees that are a lot more resilient to fires than others. When we talk about deciduous trees, they're not really a major concern versus coniferous trees that are, and there's different ones that are a little bit more challenging from a fire spread perspective than other ones. So, trees and plants and shrubs, there's all kinds of things, information out there that we can share about which is a good idea and which maybe not such a great idea. But in the end, it's really up to the individuals that are doing that. And, we're just here to try to help them if they want to achieve that. So hopefully that kind of, yeah, it's from I guess the last thing, from a fire code, like if you're talking enforcement side, it really has to be pretty extreme risk to the dwelling in that immediate area before the fire code is going to jump in and say this is not a safe habit to have. So this is more about opportunities to do better, but it's 99% of it's not an enforcement issue.
Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, Chuck, I just want to say, kind of weigh in on what Ray said there. Thank you very much to yourself, your deputy chief, the CAO, and the roads department for taking the truck over and watering down the field before the event last weekend. That there's a lot of those old cars are low slung, hot exhaust, and all that tinder grass on there. It was like, I was afraid that there might be, an easy access to catch fire there and stuff like that. And I know he's on site, but I really want to thank the whole group of you for watering down that field and helping out as much as possible. Anyhow, that being said, I will entertain a motion to receive the delegation with thanks. Councillor Johnson, Deputy Mayor Nelson. Any more questions, comments? All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Thanks, Chuck. And any of you, you don't have to stay for the meeting. You can leave whenever you're done. So moving right along, we're going to go next to Mike with the Parks and Recreation. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, and through the chair to members of council, you have my report before you. I'm just going to go through and highlight a few items. Do want to identify that we have started up the Warsaw Community Center as ice plant. That we have been making the ice. It got painted on Monday afternoon, so we are in the middle of building that and getting ready for our first rentals. Douro Community Center is set to start up on September 10th to have it ready for the September 23rd week for rentals. We've been very busy with the ice allocations. As of right now, and we are still working on our ice allocations for the season. But as of right now, it's looking really well. Warsaw, last year, we averaged 52 and a half hours rented. Right now, what's in our system is 47 and a half, so we're just 5 hours less a week right now. But we do have a lot of, we're working with some users to fill those ice. And I know that some of that's already going to be allocated, but that's just not into our system yet. In Douro, we had in 2024 64.5 hours on average a week. And right now we're sitting at 64 hours. So we're just down a half hour based on last year. And again, there is still correspondence going back and forth with users to fill some of those slots. This week, we're also busy with getting the Douro doings in order. Very busy weekend for the community, and it's a great event. So we want to make sure that all the parks are in great working order for all the people attending that. To touch on that, the South Park, our well has not been able to support our storage tanks with this dry spell. So staff have been transporting water with a tank to fill up our storage tank in our storage room. That's been going well, and for the weekend, staff will be on site every day monitoring the water and bringing it in as needed for the washrooms. Also, I just wanted to identify that the Warsaw Legion Ball Diamond, last year it underwent resurfacing. In 2022, we had approximately 80 hours for that summer booked. In 2023, we saw the reduction of hours, and I think it was largely to do with the condition of the fields, and we dropped down to about 19 hours for the season. Since this season, we had it rented 53 nights and 106 hours, and we've received a lot of compliments on the condition of that field and the work that the township put into it. So that's great to see. Just want to identify this energy feasibility studies for the community centers. They have been completed. We're just waiting on the final report. There were some changes with the requirements from the government for the grant. So they just have to make those adjustments. Once we do receive the final report, we are going to try to schedule a presentation to council to report all their findings and show everything of what it looks like for the future. And we just signed the contract, I guess, with BBA for the engineers that are going to be looking after the design for the Douro Community Center ice surface floor replacement. So that project is underway and hopefully on schedule. So other than that, happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mike. I'll open up the floor to any comments, questions from the committee. Mayor Watson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, it's great to hear that the ice is going into both the facilities. It's a good reminder that summer is about to come to an end and we're going to go into hockey season. Last season, towards the end of the season, earlier this spring, I know at the Douro Community Center, there were some concerns and issues about water and plumbing. And I know that there was some extensive discovery work done to determine, what the problem is. I'm just wondering if you can give us a bit of an update so that the hockey user groups can hopefully go into the facility and with peace of mind, knowing that they're going to be able to have hot water and running water and flushing toilets and all that wonderful stuff.
Yeah, thanks. Through the chair to Mayor Watson. Yes, we did experience an issue last year with a lack of water pressure. Under further investigation, we did find that there was a blockage in one of our actual water filters. Once we got that changed, it brought the pressure back. It's not as the pressure when the building was built, there's more than enough pressure for the facility. And that was identified because there is a bypass to bypass our water treatment. So when the building was designed, we never had any regulations in place for UV, carbon tanks, and water filters. That all came later down the road. And unfortunately, when some of these legislations were introduced and the pieces of equipment were installed into the facility, they were installed at a lower diameter piping. And then when you're going through the filters, it reduces the flow. So when we test the system in bypass, we have more than enough pressure for anything. So we did investigate with the plumbers. We did come up with, and they provided us with a solution to rectify this in the future. It is a considerable job. It would be taking out all of our current filtration systems and UV systems and replacing it with larger capacity ones. And that would ultimately solve our low flow issues. And mainly our low flow issues are when we're filling the Olympia. So like when we don't experience those issues unless we're filling those Olympias, but the problem is in the winter, we fill that for about 10 minutes every hour. So that, and it's usually at times when people need those. So, but it has improved since we found that blockage in the filter. And
Deputy Mayor Nelson.
Just to add to what Manager Mood has suggested about the water system at the Douro Community Center. So we've done some investigative work. We have resolved some of those issues by virtue of discovering sort of a relatively easy problem to repair, as well as changing away some of the way that we operate to sort of give us some more certainty. And then I would suggest that we will be bringing to budget this year some capital work that would support the conversation that the manager has suggested in terms of upgrades required to improve the overall water system on a longer term basis for the facility. So that you will be seeing at in the 2026 budget as an opportunity for you to consider and give us some direction on.
Sorry about that. Again, through the chair, Mike, just a question I have is when you said about filling the Olympia, does that water have to go through do we have to put that through filters and everything else, or is it more, how do I say it? We have less issues than with the Olympia if it does go through the filter? That's my question.
yeah, through the chair to Deputy Mayor Nelson. Yeah, so it is one of those things that it doesn't necessarily have to be treated, but we also have to be cognizant of the hard water there in the machines. It has been very hard on a lot of our equipment, but also, when the snow is melting, if there's bacteria in the ice, it's not the greatest to have the snow piles outside for the kids that generally play in it. So if it's a treated system, it is better for that. And we just, we could potentially try to isolate it off the system. But the other issue is that main line supplies the reference washrooms and the lobby washrooms. So it comes off that exact same line. So we would have to run a dedicated line to just the Olympia, which can be explored as well, but we feel that by us changing the filtration parts and system, that will also solve our issues.
Thanks, Mike.
To the chair, just a comment on what you said there. I mean, that would be the easy way of doing it, is bypassing it. But for years, we had so much problem. The life would be cut in half with the water we had being so hard. So that's why we put all those things in. So I never want to see it bypassed, even though it's going to be a big expense to get to the proper size. But that was misfortune that was not done at the time. But like I say, that our water is such that we never want to bypass it.
All right, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to receive with thanks. Councillor Lansman. Mayor Watson, any other comments, questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Thanks, Mike. All right, moving right along. Public Works and our CAO, Todd, you were taking that one first. Thank you, sir.
Through the chair to members of council, good morning. Happy to provide the update. Jake, the manager of Public Works, is off on vacation this week. Well deserved. By virtue of what you're going to see in the report today, he's had a hard and busy summer. I'll highlight a couple of you. So the report is available to you. I'll highlight a couple of areas. It's certainly centered around either things that we normally get calls on or just some sort of updates. So the first thing I want to draw your attention to, we get a lot of, so it's picking up from where the fire chief left off. It's been a long, dry summer. And we often get a lot of calls. We tend to get a lot of calls, although I believe there are less this year related to dust being kicked up on the roads. And we've received a lot of calls about calcium, and I just wanted to sort of assure council that the calcium application was made at the regular time, and that it's been completed. We have been getting some dust, predominantly because it also needs water to make it work. And so when while there may have been an application, if it's been dry for a long period of time, it still is the roads are dusty and the fields are crispy. I don't know what else to tell you. That's the reality of life. I also wanted to highlight also in the operational area, talking about transfer station LCBO returns, reminding council that notice of motion went forward. We brought forward a staff report at August 5th as to how we're going to change the direction of that program. And so I just wanted to recognize that that report has been received and direction has been provided, and staff are moving in the direction as requested by council. Moving to some of the capital projects. So I would note that all surface treatment projects are now complete, including the largest surface treatment project we did this year, which started earlier in the year on Caves Road. We did a substantial amount of work on that road this year, and that work is now, as I understand it, now been completed. And I also would note that the fourth line in South Dummer has also was also a more substantial capital project this year, and it is also complete. I would note also that all of the gravel applications as proposed in our capital projects list this year are also finished. I draw your attention to, we had a conversation, or Councillor Johnson brought up a notion of an annual brush drop-off opportunity at the land transfer station. What I would note is that we did see a delegation in late spring from residents in the north who had asked for an extension on the brush free disposal of brush program at the land transfer station, and we, at the direction of council, extended that to July 5th. That actually happened. Or we continue to sort of follow through with that. And I would note that we did have a large quantity of brush dropped off as a result of the emergency and the extended period of time where we accepted free brush, and also accepted free brunch, I guess, but free brush at the station. All that material has now been ground, and we're managing some of it. I recognize that you may ask me why we're hauling some of it off-site, because of the sheer volume of grindings that we had requires us to remove some of it, which is what we've done. And then I think finally, just to get out in front of Councillor Johnson's question about an annual brush drop-off opportunity, whether it's a week, a weekend, a day, certainly all of those things can be contemplated. There will be a cost associated. There's always, as always, a cost associated to that. I do not have the cost, of course, at this exact moment, but what I would suggest is we would put that into the 2026 budget for your consideration. Happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you very much for that. Open up to the committee. Any comments, questions? Councillor Johnson?
Yeah, through the chair. I was up at the landfill site there and it does look good. Now, the one complaint that, or well, suggestion that the girl had there was that, I guess where we drop off the free objects that people can pick up, it's been broken into several times and I guess the locks right now is not even on. And, that's one thing because if they're gonna break it, they're gonna break it. But the thing is, the kids are in there and doing some weird things in there. And they don't feel they should have to come in and clean up some of this mess that they leave. So I mean, we need to look at that again, whether we think of putting another lock back on or do something just for the other public that are coming in, that it's not going to be disgraceful. So that would just want to bring that comment through that they can look at that. Thank you.
Through the chair to Councillor Johnson, thank you for bringing that up. Certainly, it is, I think every small town suffers from this type of situation, and it's not actually contained just to the land transfer station, although I do recognize that we did have some exuberant young residents of our community, we believe, to have broken in to a building facility there. I can assure you that it's certainly on our agenda to make sure that that is relocked and and secured. But I also would point out that we also had earlier in the season some youth, what we anticipate or would sort of suggest is youth related vandalism at some of our parks as well. And I think that's just part and parcel of the community, the rural nature of our community and our inability to sort of provide 24/7 security at those sites. We have to be prepared that we're going to, from time to time, be subject of exuberant activities and so certainly it's not lost on me, but it's certainly also something that we're not surprised by.
Mayor Watson, then Deputy Mayor Nelson.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to CAO Davis, thank you for the update on the brush and garbage, creating, a brush bin and coming forward at the budget in the future. Looking at the cleanup from the ice storm, I'm seeing in the report that the contractor has started hauling away grindings from the site. Are they, I remember we were joking is a rough word to use shortly after the storm, but we were kind of saying like, free gift bags, we'll give people brush, right? Or not brush, but chips from that. Have we put that invitation out to people? Is it already gone? Can citizens come and bring a trailer and use it to, put down as bedding in their barn or whatever? I don't know what they might want to do with it, but is there desire for that? And are we making that available free for the taking for residents as opposed to paying to cart it away?
Through the chair back to the mayor. Thank you. I'm not sure if we've advertised that or how we publicized it, but certainly it is available to the general public. When we say that they're taking some of it away, just because of the sheer volume of it and recognition that we are not the only township that is offering that service in particular, Peterborough County received a larger quantity, and their strategy is also to gift the wood chips out to the general public. So I feel we have a sort of a supply and demand issue. We have a lot of supply and not as much demand as we might want. And then it's also not lost on me, the fire chief's commentary about the things that help create fires. And so, I mean, we're a little sensitive. We want to be sensitive that we're just not giving out like that somebody doesn't come and take a giant pile away and put it on their ground, bring it back to their property and create a tinder pile for other issues. So, but it's certainly something that we have been doing. I don't have a full update as to how much we publicize the opportunity to take some away, but it's certainly something I'll speak to the manager about.
Thank you, Chair. Through you. On the operational side, I'm seeing that there were cleared beaver dams. I should have asked about this previously. Does that include beaver dams that were impacting the residents on Coral Drive potentially? Or is that still an issue? Or are we working on that?
I don't have a good answer to that, Mayor, but I'm happy to get some information and have it sent to you.
Thanks, through the chair. Thanks for doing the presentation there, Todd. My question, or just one thing that on the site up at the transfer station, the MOE only allows us to keep so much there. And if they come in, they would be making us probably remove. So I think it's very wise that because there is a maximum amount that we can keep on that site, just for information purposes. As far as giving it out, I know lots of people have been asking, and I know, talked to Jake, and they have gone and gotten loads of it, or trailer loads of mulch out of the transfer station as well. Now I forgot my last question. Anyways, I'll leave it. Thanks. I forgot my last question.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Councillor Johnson?
I'll just make comment on that to the chair. When I went up there, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing there. It's gone. So, I mean, I don't think there's anything there, but I'm just make that comment.
All right, I just have a couple of comments, if I could, please. First one, when I was out at the county, you know, when they had a pile out there, but they had that big machine that was like just picked up everything going. And when I talked to a couple of the employees there in the office, they said, you know what? People can take a bit if they want, but it was so full of dirt and rocks and crap and everything else. He said mainly they were using it, or that was the plan, was to use it, was cover for the dump, you know, to put the cover on before the next layer went. So I think ours was probably just through a smaller machine that was probably a lot cleaner, which is great, but I just want to throw that out there. The other comment that I want to make, and this is for the general public, how many will watch this and maybe their word can get spread. I've heard a lot of comments over the last few weeks about our hard topping the roads. Oh, I had pavement before, now I've got this. And people don't realize the fact that, and I'm sorry, I'm not saying all people, but I get these comments. So I mean, I'm generally speaking about the people that have commented on this. The tar and chip that we actually do on the roads does turn into what it looks like pavement. In a short while, when the gravel's kind of taken off by the traffic and it gets swept and stuff, you'll be back to the same type of road that you had before. It wasn't pavement, it just turns into what looks like pavement. So that's just a comment that I want to make to the general public. Deputy Mayor Nelson.
Through the chair, I thought of my question. Up at the transfer station, do we have internet capabilities up at the transfer station now, or no?
Through the mayor, or through the chair to the deputy mayor, I'm not 100% sure, although I suspect we do not. We
I
don't have
know-
water and but we do have power.
I wasn't sure whether we had internet capabilities at the transfer station. And the reason I asked that was just if there's a lot of break-ins, a lot of stuff, we could run a camera system or a security system if there was internet service, but I know that's a lot of expense and for maybe the amount of times that it happens, but it's something maybe staff could definitely look at. I do know that there is, as long as we do have hydro on site, and there's other options since the last time for internet services that could or could not provide camera situation for security. But anyways, just a thought. Thank you.
To the chair, back to the deputy mayor. Thanks for your suggestion. It's certainly something I'll ask the manager to take into consideration when we're preparing for the budget this year and give you some opportunity to sort of have a conversation about it.
And, through the chair, I'll just make one more comment, was that hazardous waste event that we had, August 16th. They said that they were lined up out to the road, put it all day. So they really took in a lot of stuff. Making that comment.
All right, thanks very much. We may have an answer to that question of the internet up there very soon. So if so, we'll just put it into the agenda here and, all right. Go ahead, Todd.
Through the chair, to the deputy mayor, there is no internet. I've just been informed. So there you go. People are watching and giving me good information, so I appreciate that.
All right, perfect. Any other comments, questions? If not, I will entertain a motion to receive with thanks. Deputy Mayor Nelson and Councillor Landsman. Any other comments, questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Thanks, Todd, for taking that on. All right, moving right along. We're doing very well here this morning. Paul, the finance, you're on, sir.
Thank you, and through your chair, I guess the important update and the bulk of my work the last few weeks is surrounding that I am going to be leaving the township. This was announced at the last council meeting. So a lot of my work the last few weeks has just been making sure everything is wrapped up, clean and tidy for when I do depart. I'd say, so next week is going to be my final week. And my final meeting will be next Tuesday at council. So with that said, just been wrapping up some projects. We've been able to issue the RFP for the building condition assessment study that closes on Friday. Been monitoring it on bids and tenders. There is quite a bit of interest in terms of the number of engineering firms that have at least viewed it and picked up the documents and looked at it. So we'll see what kind of response we get from submissions. Wrapping up the 2024 year end and audit. 2026 budget, we've been meeting with managers. I hope to have a good working draft by the end of next week. It won't be final by any means. There's still lots of numbers to kind of figure out as we go along here, but I think it'll give Todd and the rest of the staff an idea of where we're at in a working session. I have also committed to, I do use a pretty complicated Excel model and continue to support the township until my replacement does arrive. So hopefully that's a seamless transition. Also working on the municipal ice storm assistance program claim, working on that with our junior financial analyst, Jijo Joshi. That's due October 31st. And again, I'm available to review the final claim before it's submitted. Working with my staff just to wrap up some final items, such as we've been implementing an inventory module in our financial system that's moving away from spreadsheets. It just is a little bit more seamless as it integrates into our accounts payable. And it's just a few less keystrokes that we have to do, and we do it all in one place. During the 2024 audit, I've brought this up in previous reports, that the bank reconciliation process that we created last year did create some errors. There's some discrepancies, and so we've been working on it over the summer in terms of making sure our new process is working. I think we do have confirmation that it is, and so my staff can continue over the next few weeks getting caught up on bank reconciliations. And last but not least, just cleaning up the office and cleaning up the files. And Ava, our summer student, was a big help. Went through all the drawers, all the cabinets, and making sure it's nice and clean, and all the documents in the office are current and organized. Open to any questions.
Thank you very much, Paul, and we are definitely going to miss you, but good luck in your future endeavors. All right, I'll open up any comments, questions from the committee. Mayor Watson.
Thank you, Chair. Through you. The audit for 2024, I know that you're working diligently on getting that wrapped up, and I know it's something that I pretty much routinely ask you. Do we have a date set for the auditors to come to council?
Through you, Chair. We do not have a date. One of the challenges right now is trying to balance everything. I would have had more time to work on budget, so I've had to move that up. And so it's prioritizing everything. I do intend to get the auditors everything they need, but I would say I'm a couple weeks behind because I've had to push budget up to make sure that's in a good position before I leave as well. And so the prioritizing, I don't have a date exactly. I would say the target was the second meeting in September. It's likely going to be the first meeting in October.
Okay, thank you. And then just to clarify for my own knowledge, excuse me, the Municipal Ice Storm Assistance Program claim, which is due October 31st, is that what we had been referring to as MDRAP, which is now renamed under this new program, just so I have this clear in my head?
Through your chair, that's exactly it. We have a report coming on Tuesday to council. The updated the program and reissued the program specifically for the municipal ice storm. We will have an updated motion for council to pass and resolution that will give council or staff authority to submit an application under this new program. But the parameters of the program are exactly the same, just a new title.
Okay, thank you very much.
Deputy Mayor Nelson.
Thanks through the chair. Paul, I just want to echo thanks from behalf of council and echo what the mayor said. Thanks for all your help with us or your work, I should say, the past number of years that you've been here, and I just want to commend you on that, and also wish you all the best in the future. And thanks for all your help and willingness to help us in through this transition. I think we probably will be in good shape, and I'm sure you're going to have your plate really full at your new job, getting understanding everything that's happening there. And anyways, I just want to wish you all the best and hope that it all is everything you dreamed of. So thanks again, Paul.
Thank you very much. Any other comments, questions? And I will entertain a motion to receive with thanks. Mayor Watson, Councillor Johnson, any other comments, questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Thanks, Paul. And again, good luck. Okay, moving right along. I think we're up next to Martina, our Clerk's Department. Floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a short update for the committee. You have my report in front of you, but I wanted to just highlight a few items. So as Paul mentioned, staff have undertook document destruction in May, June, and July. We focused first on the Township vault. And there was many non-permanent documents in that vault that had reached the end of their retention cycle. So those have all been disposed of as per the retention cycle. The vault has also been completely reorganized to allow for an efficient use of the space and a safer work environment for staff. We previously had very heavy roll books and other documents on top shelves, so staff had to climb step ladders and reach up, and that wasn't safe. So we've rearranged it to make that a safe work environment. Further to that, the department has also spent the summer organizing the township's long-term document storage area. At various points in time, this department has attempted to organize and classify all the items in this space, but we're not able to complete the project due to a lack of staff capacity. We've made excellent progress, and the project will be complete by the end of September. Another project we have on the go is our electronic document and records management system. So we have a project plan in place with StoneShare for that system. I've met with them actually yesterday to meet the team, and the official kickoff date for that project is going to be September 15th, when they will meet the rest of the team and start working with each department that's scheduled for this year's project. So it is a 3-year project. So for 2025, it's going to be the Clerk's Department and the Parks and Recreation Department who are going to be moving to the new system. And then we will continue to roll it out over the next 2 years after that. The department has received 25 FOIs to date this year. 24 of those files are closed and 1 is in progress. There have been 14 complaints submitted under the township's formal complaint policy and procedure in 2025. All those files have either been closed or have been reassigned as requests for service by law enforcement requests or other actions. I'll talk about this in a second, but as we work towards our new website, we are going to be making the formal complaint process page clearer and more accessible for the public. We find that many complaints that we receive are actually by law enforcement requests. So we are going to be making those two services more unique so that people can submit their concerns to the appropriate areas. Also, as per council's direction, staff have submitted a report to the Information and Privacy Commissioner of Ontario, the IPC, regarding a privacy breach which was discovered and addressed over the summer. The council chamber upgrade project is being completed in 2 phases. The first was the emergency wiring repairs, calibration of the ceiling speaker system, and having the microphones feed directly into the live stream for the meeting. Phase 2 of the project includes additional repairs and upgrades to the AV hardware, which is mostly contained in the black box on the side of the room, and allowing, the improvement to that wiring and that AV equipment will allow the removal of the OWL system, and we will be able to move to using the cameras which are embedded in the ceiling, which will provide us a clearer picture for our live stream and our guests. We'll also be removing the failing projector system and the fabric screens and replacing those with new large screen display monitors. We're currently waiting on the hardware for those monitors, but it should arrive shortly, and then our contractor will be returning to complete the installation and the necessary training for staff. The community tree program has been a big topic of late and quite a success. So our orders opened on August 18th, and that was for first-time purchasers as per council's direction. When I wrote this report, 3 of the species had been sold out. We are now sold out of all of our species. Sadly, that first week, the trees actually sold out by the end of Friday afternoon. So we were not able to provide orders to residents who wanted to reorder trees. But it is exciting that there are so many residents who hadn't accessed the program previously who are now able to access it. So I think that's excellent. We do have the the pickup dates scheduled, so that they're going to be September 11th, 12th, and 13th. That's a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to allow people with various schedules to come in and pick up their trees. I alluded to it, but the department has been working on our new website. The architecture is now complete and all of our current data has been ported over. Department staff are now working on learning the new website and the processes, and we've organized all of the digital resources on the site, so photos, documents, multimedia. We are now in the review and rewriting phase of the materials on the site to simplify it and improve the experience for the public. We did meet with the library staff yesterday to review the project with them and provide some training and discussion opportunities, so that went quite well. On the recruitment front, as you may know, we're recruiting for the role of the Corporate Services Legislative Assistant. That process is almost complete. And the department's Legislative Services Assistant, Patty, will be returning from her leave on September 8th. So we're excited to have her back in the office. Happy to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I'll open up the committee. Any comments, questions? Deputy Mayor Nelson, you're up.
Yeah, through the chair. Martina, thanks for your report. And my question is about the trees. And again, I'm hearing nothing but kudos again for the tree program. Everybody seems to love it that's been getting them. But I had a phone call from a resident and they know the program's over. And but they were wanting to know what nursery we were receiving them from, because they would like to go and buy some trees from that nursery. So I said I would ask and find out.
Through the chair, we purchase our trees from Pine Needles Nursery. They are located just north of Pontypool. They specialize in growing trees for institutional clients, so school boards, municipalities, sports facilities, things like that. I do believe they may have sales direct to the public, but we can reach out and find out if that is something they offer.
Great. Thanks, Martine.
Thank you. Mayor Watson?
Thank you, Chair. Through you, Madam Clerk, it's great to see that you are already considering addressing the complaint policy on the new website. I think that recognizing that people are being directed or directing the wrong way, and if we can get ahead of that with the new website launch, that's fantastic. So thanks for your foresight in that. Looking at the marriage licenses and ceremonies specifically, it's super exciting that we can offer this service to folks in and around our community. I'm wondering if there's anything that we can do, beyond this, talking about it anecdotally, to promote this. I know that we often have a standing ad in, say, the Dummer News, or promoting our facilities, but can we? It's probably like a sideways budget transfer or something. But do we plan on promoting the service further?
Through the chair. We haven't done a formal rollout of advertising our marriage services. It is in our newsletter, and we do have a page on our current website, which provides information about the services. We're hoping, as we continue to perform these services, and we keep getting better and understanding what the public is looking for in the ceremonies and in the service, we'll be able to do some formal advertising or have a media campaign regarding our services in 2026, especially with the introduction of our new corporate services assistant. One of the tasks that they're going to have is the administrating of all of our licenses, so mobile canteens, lottery licenses, marriage licenses. And so we'll be able to use that capacity to push these services. But it is really wonderful when new couples come in and are looking for these services, and we can help them do this special step in their life.
Any other comments, questions? Councillor Landsman?
Through the chair to Martina, if you need help on the Friday and Saturday, I'm happy to help out a bit. So if you want to let me know, I'm not available on the 11th.
Through the chair, thank you very much. I'll reach out to you after the meeting.
Any other comments, questions? I just have one, and it hinges on what Mayor Watson said. Martin, do the ceremonies have to be here in the office, or can they be anywhere in the township?
A wonderful question, Chair. So they can be anywhere, actually. So through the powers of the province, we are actually able to perform marriage ceremonies anywhere in the province of Ontario. We do have fees for marriages that are occurring outside of business hours, and ones that are also outside of the township's jurisdiction. But we are able to provide that service anywhere anyone would like, and you don't need to be a resident to access the service either.
Excellent. And why I ask that, because, we have some pretty big jewels here in our township that may be a great venue. Somebody may, hey, let's get married at the Warsaw Caves, or let's get married at a resort on Stony or Clear or White Lake, anywhere at all kind of get. So that makes it very positive for a lot of people to look into that. So thank you very much. All right. So if there's no other comments, questions, I will entertain a motion to receive with thanks. Councillor Johnson, Councillor Landsman, any other comments, questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Thanks, Martina. Todd, you're up next, sir. CAO report.
Through the chair to the rest of council. So this is my report that you have in front of you. Some of it is relatively straightforward. A couple of things I'd like to highlight regarding some of the things that we've been doing. Under the human resources, so part of my role is to liaise and facilitate, coordinate with a third-party human resources organization that we've retained to provide some of our services. Predominantly, they oversee where we are at with compliance training, et cetera. And so we've initiated this summer a program to ensure that everybody that is maybe out of compliance is brought back into compliance. And what I mean, for the most part, most of our staff, there's some very basic training that we all do, and some of it is dated and programs like WMIS that we're all required to do. Some of those certifications have expired, and so we're just making sure that everyone's brought up to date. I would also highlight the treasurer spoke specifically to his resignation and some of the things that he's doing. The deputy CAO and I have established a plan to ensure continued service delivery through the transition. So we recognize that the treasurer will be leaving the week of September 2nd. So part of the way that we wanted to address that is we aggressively move forward with recruitment. And so we are currently out to market to recruit for a new treasurer. If you know anybody that's looking for a treasurer's job or a finance job, we certainly, that job is open right now. We are receiving resumes, and it closes actually on the 2nd of September. And I'm confident, looking at what we have received so far, we will have some good quality candidates for consideration. That being said, they are not seamlessly going to step into that role. There will be, they're all generally working individuals, and so there will be a period of transition. And so some of the ways I just wanted to assure council that we're managing our way through that process. So first and foremost, I've met with all of the staff in the finance division to assure that they are comfortable and confident as we move forward. So while Paul is the treasurer, I would remind council that we have a deputy treasurer in Donna Kelly, who has agreed to step up temporarily and sort of take on some more responsibilities along with other members of staff. So we've worked across the corporation actually to ensure that finance has the opportunity to be successful. And so any other responsibilities that they may have that are not part of the finance function for the next probably 6 weeks or so, we'll have other staff sort of overseeing some of that work so that they can focus on the work that needs to be done. And then we've really prioritized with the outgoing treasurer some of the things that are important. So we want to make sure that the budget is prepared to deliver it on time, and to a process that has been agreed to by council. Recognizing that last year we pushed the budget process. We pushed the budget process because we didn't have a CAO and a number of different things. This year, that intention is not to do that. Our intention is to actually follow through on the time frame that we've committed to council for. And so, while Mr. Kramer won't be here to deliver the budget for us, enough work will have been done, and enough work we have delegated to his internal staff that we are confident to bring the budget forward. I will be presenting the budget this year. Even if we did hire a new treasurer, it's unfair to ask that treasurer to, first couple of weeks of work to welcome. You get to present the budget to all of town council. It's really not the strategy I want to pursue as such. And so ultimately, it's my responsibility, and so I accept that responsibility, and we'll move forward. A couple other things I'd like to highlight actually in the township work. Skip ahead a bit. So as related to the resignation of the treasurer, there's sort of two ongoing projects. One is with the CSRIF funding that we received. So I know Manager Mood referenced the fact that we retained BBA and Associates as per the procurement report that came forward in the direction of council. I also recognize that Mr. Mood operationally has a full plate on him, and the intention was we've hired BBA to not only do the engineering work, to project manage that process for us. The intention was to either have the treasurer or myself oversee that project. With the treasurer's resignation, that falls on my responsibility list, and so certainly it's something that I will be overseeing. We recognize how aggressive that time frame is and how we have to be on top of it, and so that's certainly a priority for me moving forward. Further, we were just prepared. The last sort of study related to asset management that was required went to market around a building condition assessment program that that council supported during the budget process this year. That is currently out to market. That and all other asset management elements will fall under my responsibility until a new treasurer is named. So one of the projects that is ongoing is a roads needs study that I know will be coming to council in the fall, in the very near future, for a decision that in companionship with the building condition assessment will also give us the work that we need the information we are required for updating our asset management plan. And there's funds in the budget to have that work being done for us. So we'll manage our way through that piece as well. And then I guess the other thing I'd like to, Deputy CAO in her report talked about a series of complaints that were managed. 2 complaints during this time frame came to my attention as they involved maybe other departments within the organization that would normally do this reporting. Those 2 complaints were the same complaint through 2 separate parties. They have been, we changed some process and both files are closed. I will note that I misread the policy. It's my responsibility to be on top of things. The policy states that we would respond within 20 days. I thought it was 30. For whatever reason, I'm seeing 3s where 2s were. And so I certainly was late, and I take full responsibility for that. And transparently, when I do good things, I tell you that I did good things, but when I do have a misstep, I also want to be upfront about that as well. And then I think the other thing I'd like to highlight, certainly there's some stuff on regional representation we can talk about or you can ask questions on. Something that I don't normally update council on, I'm going to become more regular in this report, is related to IT. The IT individual falls under my responsibility. And so just a few things to highlight. We've introduced some new cybersecurity related measures to better safeguard our information. We will have, as per some of your capital, the capital plan this year, we had money set aside for replacement of some of our pieces of equipment, and we certainly are moving through with that. And then the other thing that we're looking at is how we might update or improve the operation of our current phone system. Some of the challenges that we actually have, I firmly believe from a customer management and service perspective, is related to the antiquatedness. I don't even know if that's a word, but how antiquated our current phone system is. It is not modern by any stretch of the imagination. It is very difficult to manage, not transferable, and it actually leaves us a little vulnerable, as we discovered during the emergency event that we had in the spring of this year when the phone system went down and we had no redundancy built into the program. And so those are all of the things that I've asked the IT individual to look into, and I believe we'll be coming forward with a report as to how we would upgrade that system. Excuse me. And so, and we don't anticipate there being a ton of costs associated with that. I just wanted to sort of make you aware. So happy to take any questions you may have at this time.
Thank you very much for that update. Comments, questions from the committee? Deputy Mayor Nelson.
Thank you, through the chair. Thanks for that, Todd. Just something I want to bring up, and I'm sure staff can look into this, is possibly maybe, I didn't even know this even existed, but on your cell phones, I think the county is looking at this system as well. One cell phone to do personal and for work on, and the employee brings the cell phone, but it's all secured through, it's like having 2 separate phones, or having a computer that has maybe 2 users that use that cell phone, and might be a possibility. I don't know, but it's something maybe staff could look into if we're going to be looking at updating phones or updating that whole system. Maybe like the township phones could be a possibility instead of carrying, an employee carrying two phones, one for the township and one for their personal use, might be, and look at paying a stipend or a bill for, or pay that share of the cost for the township, but save on hardware and purchasing hardware. But anyways, just a suggestion to maybe that we could look into that as staff and see whether that's a value or not. So, thank you.
Through the chair to the deputy mayor, thank you for that suggestion. Certainly, the technology does exist. If you choose to have, if you would like to have one phone for two purposes, you can certainly do that through, it's too technical for me, but it's certainly, I know that that is a possibility, and it's not off the table. We have a very limited number of cell phones in the corporation that we distribute to various members of staff. But certainly, as we move forward with more securing our information, and what a new phone system looks like, it's certainly things to be taken into consideration, and we would come forward to council before we move generally forward with how we're going to go. But it would be something we'll take into consideration. So thank you.
Thank you.
To the
Councillor
chair,
Johnson.
This is indirectly a question to ask you a question, but when I was up at the landfill site, I seen a trailer up there. Are we still want to start collecting some, because I know other people that said they maybe like to bring them in too.
Through the chair to Councillor Johnson, that trailer is, we're not in the habit of collecting trailers. We are in the habit, though, of when people dump things in our jurisdiction, of collecting them off the roads, and we're holding that trailer there while we do some investigation through both bylaw enforcement and our local police force to see if we can track down who so generously towed a trailer to our community and just decided to leave it on the side of the road. Really, that's what it is. We are not in the habit, though, of collecting trailers in the future. It's not the direction we are heading, to be honest.
Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to receive with thanks. Mayor Watson, Councillor Landsman, any other comments, questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. And Todd, you're up again with the strategic plan implementation.
Through the chair to the members of council. So this report, if you'll recall, I came forward in March of this year. May of 2024, this council received a draft strategic plan that they passed forward. I brought forward an implementation plan in March of this year that council reviewed, had some questions on, and we moved forward with that program. We are still going through the process of doing the implementation. That will continue through 2027. One of the questions that was asked of me was how we were going to fund the strategic initiatives, or had we given some consideration. So I've gone through it in this report and provided sort of a more simplified chart. Attached to the report is a sort of more granular chart of all the activities attached to the strategic plan and its pillars. I remind council that there are 3 strategic pillars: service modernization and innovation, business attraction, expansion and retention, and infrastructure renewal, and a series of objectives under each of those pillars. I really looked at a higher level report for you today, where I took all of the objectives under each of those pillars of the strategy and given it either assigned a budget figure. A lot of the work we've already budgeted for or started work on, so I'll very briefly go through the objectives. So under service modernization, there's lots of services, the direction from council and the strat plan was to modernize and improve services, processes, and outcomes that we do. A lot of those initiatives are not cost centric. They actually just require staff time to do that work. So that work isn't complete. It's ongoing. There is an ongoing cost attached to doing that work when we assign staff. to do that work. They can't do other work, but we're confident that any of the work that we have earmarked or been directed to by council that falls under that objective of that pillar is stuff that we can do in-house, and we wouldn't incur any external costs other than staff-related costs to do that work for you. The deputy CAO spoke specifically this afternoon, or this morning, sorry, related to the website. We budgeted $20,000 in 2025 for the website work. That work, as you have heard today, is ongoing and rounding out to completion. We're getting ready to launch that website publicly at some point in the future. We do not anticipate any further costs attached to that work being done. The deputy mayor also spoke about document management and retention and a program. The deputy CIO, did I say somebody different? Deputy mayor, sorry, the deputy mayor did not speak to that. The deputy CAO did definitely speak to that. So my apologies. The deputy CAO spoke to that project specifically that's launching on September 15th. That project is cost to the township over the course of 3 years is $75,000. It has been budgeted, and I believe that project has come forward and received the support of council, and we anticipate whatever has been spent this year, we will be spending money over the next series of years and with council's support. And then finally, online community engagements, opportunities, and really I classified the new corporate services assistant and the schedule activities as part of the work that would be responsible, that would be their responsibility. As you're aware, we've had 2 sort of in-person council engagement activities with the public this year. The costs to deliver that, those services are generally marginal. We will have an individual on staff who will help to oversee some of that. I also would like to highlight that we talk about an online community engagement tool as well, or at least that was part of the one of the objectives under the strategic plan. We have the opportunity to use this tool that has been retained by Peterborough County. In partnership with Peterborough County, we will have access to their online community engagement tools should and when we need to use it. We don't have anything particular at this exact moment that we would be putting forward, but it's certainly a nice tool to have in the toolbox and something we would come back to council for if and when we were prepared to start to use that tool. When we get into business interaction, business attraction, expansion, and retention, we talk about how we promote the township through storytelling. And really that's based on our brand identity and really talks to or speaks to destination marketing. And what I would like to highlight is we don't have any particular budget set aside for that work at this time, but I would like to thank the mayor for the work that she did on the article that we just recently had published in Kawartha Now. That is exactly what we're talking about when we talk about the promotion of our community through storytelling. That is exactly what we're describing. I think it showed our community very well. It made me very proud to be a member of this township. And certainly I think we could see more of that. There is some work related to the staff side to get some of that stuff to provide whatever assistance our elected officials require when we're doing that kind of work. But also, I think it also highlights a greater partnership opportunity we have through Peterborough County and their new economic development and tourism divisions, the tourism portion in particular. We see this is a great win for us. And so we were going to lean into more of that type of activity. And sort of that's where we're funding that work from. Improvement of community signage. So I would note that we have $12,500 set aside in reserve to improve our community signage. I'm not naive to think that that's enough money to improve what we've got currently. That is what we have available to us. We are looking at every option, and I know there's some money in reserve at Peterborough County that we're going to try and claw back or access to see if we can get some partnership dollars working. But also I would recognize that there may be some money coming forward in the future, or a request for some more money coming forward in the future. But as we look at it right now, we have a series of signs that are in desperate need of replacement, and we may come forward at a future meeting with a plan as to how we may replace those signs using the funds we have in current reserve. And then we'll see where we'll go from there. We talk about completion of the zoning bylaw. I would remind council that we have reserved and budgeted over the last series of years up to $100,000 for that work to be done. And so, while there's a cost associated to that work needing to be done, this council has had the forethought to put those funds away, and so we are prepared when that opportunity presents itself. I will also remind council that that work happens after the approved official plan is put into place. That official plan we are at is authored and managed by Peterborough County, and it is currently with the province for approval. So we really can't spend that money or do that work until that policy document is approved and in place, and we're just waiting for that. We anticipate it's coming in the near, not too distant future, maybe is hopeful, hopeful sentiment, but certainly that's where we are. We talked, there's a whole objective under providing incentives to new and growing businesses. We do not have a budget for this piece right now, and I think that if we're going to do greater work in that area, that involves or requires a more significant conversation specific to this piece with council and some direction as to how much appetite we have to do this kind of work and how much money we would be willing to spend on that. Having spent almost a full year with you folks, I would leave it as we need to have a conversation before we commit to spending any of those money. Prioritizing, so we talk about infrastructure renewal of the last three areas, and I just want to sort of briefly go through some of that work. So prioritizing roads where surface treatment is obtainable and this kind of notion. So I spoke to some of the work we're doing for the asset management plan is the roads needs study. That work is wrapping up. Once we have that in front of us, it will give us a better understanding as to what roads we need to prioritize and how much we need to spend on those roads. I cannot give you that figure today without having the benefit of that study in my hands. And so certainly recognize that we've budgeted for, paid for, and that work is being done in terms of the study. What that leads to in terms of further implications remains to be seen, but certainly we recognize that ongoing capital projects related to the maintenance of our roads is important, an important piece, and something we'll be considering. We talked about repairing municipal facilities. So I'm just going out to, this next thing is going out to market on a building condition assessment project that I will be overseeing. That will be, my goal would be to get that up and running and operated through the final quarter of this year to help inform some of the asset management work that has to be done, but also to give us some sense of the future. Also, we had two other things that fall under that pillar of the strategic plan are related to Parks and Rec master plan. We have not budgeted for nor even discussed at this council how we would like to move forward with that. And that's certainly before we ever put any dollar figure attached to it. I'm just giving you a high level figure as to what a master plan of that nature would cost. And certainly would be willing to, before we move forward with anything like that, even bringing it forward to a budget, I think we would have a conversation with council and get some direction as to what you want to see happen there. And then I'm not trying to bury the lead, but the $13 million for the new joint fire station public works facility is certainly on the council's mind. I know it's certainly something that we've been sort of working towards, and I will say, as a brief update, we're working with Engage Engineering and Cambium Engineering to get ourselves to a site plan worthy position, and where that work is progressing well. Well, once that we have that sense, I think we'll have more information to share and a better, more detailed understanding as to what the financial costs will be for the building itself. And then we talk about asset management and improvement of that work. And under those things came sort of regularly being conducting our audits. And so I highlighted here the ongoing cost annually for an audit of that nature for our community is $45,000. Don't hold your breath too long on that one, but that's what the cost of that work is generally. Gives me a hitch in my breath sometimes when I think about it. But also, we have $20,000 to budgeted for updating the asset management plan. We need to do the work previous to do that, both roads needs and building condition assessment. So those are sort of the high level costs associated with the implementation of this plan. A lot of, as you can see, a lot of it is either ongoing operational costs or decisions that have already been made by this council and costs that have already been accrued. The next round of costing would be related to what's it actually going to cost to service our roads over the next series of years, and or keep our facilities up to date. All things that are a part of the asset management work that we're doing currently. Happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you very much for that. That's a lot of work put into that, and I do very much appreciate it. I'll open the floor for any committee members. Councillor Johnson?
No, I've got nothing at this time. I just want to say thanks.
Any other? Deputy Mayor Nelson?
Through the chair, thanks, Todd, for the report. My question is going to be a little different, and I don't expect an answer maybe right now. But my question is on the modernization and the modernization that we brought in, some computer programming, a lot of different areas there. But after bringing some of that stuff forward and after bringing that forward and changing some of that modernization, maybe from paperless to, there's always some hiccups within modernizing and I guess, what I think council would be nice, or this committee would be nice to know is what's working, what isn't, and what possibly, and unfortunately, it's like we get caught with redoing our webpage. I remember the last time when the township went through the webpage and we were promised all this stuff and it was going to be able to do that and we were going to be able to go in and do it, and then we end up we can't do that stuff. We didn't get what we were kind of promised. And I look at other programs that have happened actually that we have bought into, and how come the programs maybe failed, and maybe just staff's thoughts on back to council on some of them stuff that we have bought, what works and what doesn't work, and what is actually good for the public and what isn't good for the public. I can think of a couple of programs that we have purchased, and I think it's almost virtually useless, and lots of other townships bought into some of that stuff as well, and they end up don't using the program. So I guess that's my question, and it doesn't need to be answered right now, but maybe you can look at all of the modernizations that we have done maybe, and what has worked and what hasn't. That's my thoughts.
Through the chair, back to the deputy mayor. So that's a very good question, and it's probably worthy of some work on my end in a report. I can't give you all the answers today, or even some of them. There's a couple of things I'd like to highlight. Maybe I think that sort of center around that question. So I think one of the things is we use in the development services division, particularly in the building division, we use Cloud Permit as a program to do our building permits. And as part of a modernization initiative, I think you'll recall, we also engage Cloud Permit to develop an online planning application, not just in Douro-Dummer, but in Peterborough County in general, led by the County of Peterborough. And so what I would say is that I think Cloud Permit as a building permit program, as it has existed, is pretty stable and has done, for some users love it, some users don't love it. I recognize that when we bring technology in, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't for different people. But what I can say sort of confidently around sort of the cloud permit planning element of it, that has not been an effective, that's not been effective for us, not just for Douro-Dummer, but certainly, for all of the townships in Peterborough County and including the county of Peterborough. I'm not 100% sure, or I'm very confident that the county has turned away from actually enacting that sort of piece of modernization because they just couldn't get it to work. So I think that speaks to the example that you were sort of asking, asking about. But what I will say is, if I look at some of the other activities that we've done, including, feeling responsible for our liabilities and our security of our information, some of the modernization investments that we've made in the IT infrastructure that we have. And some of, have been a very positive, are very positive. They make me sleep better at night. They should make council sleep better at night because we have much more secure in how we handle our information. And then some of the work, for instance, things like websites, new document retention sort of systems. It's too early for us to tell you how successful or unsuccessful they are. What I will say is that in a number of different ways, lots of our investments in modernization are done because either old systems are no longer being supported, and so we have to transition to something new, and or it's something that we've never done, and we are particularly vulnerable in a particular area. One of the things that I know the treasurer highlighted at the last committee of the whole meeting, I believe, he talked about a strategic. So we received money in budget this year to make an investment in a particular digital program that would allow us to streamline and modernize the way we deal with, I think, accounts payable, if I'm not mistaken. And what I will say about that is we got, when we made our budget in the late fall and we presented it to council in early 2025, we had every intention of making that investment and running that project this year. What I will say, in light of Mr. Kramer's report in June, where we were informed that the financial management system that we operate on is no longer going to be supported with updates. And it's not just Douro-Dummer's financial management system. It's actually a financial management system that many municipal governments use. And so, I think we suggested at that time, and it was reported by the treasurer, that instead of implementing a new system that was independent, we would wait actually until we move the entire financial management system to something new, because a lot of the newer higher order financial management systems come with a bunch of this stuff already built in. And so I think that's an example of us making an educated decision not to spend the money when we had the money to spend, recognizing that there may be a different solution that is going to be sort of more all-encompassing as we move forward. So I sort of give you sort of three different examples as to how we've either dealt with in the good, the bad, or the ugly of modernization.
Thanks for that, Todd. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? And I will entertain a motion to receive with thanks. Mayor Watson. Councillor Landsman. Any other comments, questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. And now we're on to 6.9. Don, Building Department update. You're on, please, sir.
Thank you very much, committee. Through the chair, just getting something ready. Sorry, my apologies. Before you have our Building Department Committee of the Whole Report 2025-14. I'll just run through these here. I understand that I didn't have this to you sooner. I was away. Our year-to-date permit submissions are still currently on par with the 2024 numbers. However, similar to last report, is our revenues are down. Our Q3 revenues and submissions are actually down 20%. So though the submissions were up through the start of the year, we are starting to see them taper off. We watch some of the stuff that happens in planning, and we do believe that there's still a fair amount of development within the township, and whether people are holding or just getting ready to get through to the new year. So we'll keep an eye on that. We do have 7 active enforcement files right now, and that's active enforcement files between building and bylaw. And though those are active, we have had numerous complaints and unactionable files, as well as ones that we've closed. Our inspections under the mandatory sewage system maintenance inspection program are now complete. Approximately 90% of them passed, which means they get a green certificate that lets them know that their system appears to be operating in compliance with the code and how it was designed. And then there is a portion of them that need some follow-up work. We have a system that's a green, a yellow, and a red system. Those ones that I'm currently talking about are yellows, where some of them just needed some follow-up done to them, or they've pumped them and have since provided the pump out record. So then they'll get there to passing. But we did have no failed systems, which is nice. Now, again, these systems are inspected every 5 years. So it is something that we would expect to see in this, is that because it's a mandatory program, people are more on top of it. As we get through the discretionary systems or the program, we don't expect the numbers to be similar. One thing that we have done in the building department is we've been working on creating, and we've just recently implemented a more formalized process for the permit applications and issuance. Now, it still stays within cloud permit, but it's just on how we communicate back to the applicant, and making sure that we give them clear direction on where they are and what they need to do. We obviously felt that we were doing that before, but this is just something that we think can really help them. They can take this document and go to, whether it's their designer or if it has to be a planner at that stage, and it'll tell them exactly kind of what they need to do. So we look forward to seeing how that's going to progress, and if we need to, again, modify, we're always looking to ways to streamline our process and be more efficient. And then building a little on the Deputy CAO and Clerk Martinez report is, I think part of the website was we wanted to make sure that our website was in good shape for when we had the new rollout. And so staff worked very hard to revamp the building and planning portion of the website. And we feel that we've created a comprehensive overview on the permit application and required documents that they'll need. So you can go through and systematically answer your questions. So we do direct a lot of our ratepayers when they call in. We get the question all the time, what do I need to do to get a building permit? And now we're able to put them to the website and say, if you can read this, and then if you have questions, please let us know. Part of the revamp that we've done is we've also added drawing examples. So to give people an understanding of what type of detail we need within drawings or a site plan. So again, sometimes, you would say to somebody like a homeowner, oh, we need a site plan, and they don't quite understand what that means. And so now we have a visual aid that can help them see the level that we need in order to deem whether they are compliant with zoning or the building code. So we are proud of that work. And so far we've had great feedback, and to be honest, we have that with our new system. As we had one person who had come in on an application, and unfortunately we couldn't receive the application. It was just didn't have enough information. We gave them kind of all of this information coupled with the website, and the next time they came through, they had everything ready for us. And we were able to put them through to zoning and plans review. So I know it's only one, but it starts to show us that what we're trying to do hopefully is going to work, not only for our staff, but for the public as well. And that's everything, unless there's questions.
Thank you very much, Don. Comments, questions from the committee? Oh, seeing none, you're getting up. Oh, sorry, Councillor Johnson.
So Don, like the new construction, as far as basically is kind of stopped. Is there a lot of renovations going on then? Additions and finished basements and all this kind of stuff?
Through the chair, Councillor Johnson, that is the trend that we had seen is our new homes were down through the year, and we saw a lot more, whether it be accessory structures, renovations, or even some second dwelling units. That being said, the last quarter actually had a few more houses in it, funny enough. But yes, I think the trend overall is exactly that.
All right, thank you. Any other comments, questions? And I will entertain a motion received with thanks. Deputy Mayor Nelson, Councillor Johnson, any other comments, questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. And Don, it looks like you're doing the planning department update also. Thank you very much. It's all yours, sir.
Thank you. And through the chair, yes. And we do, starting in the next committee of the whole, I believe Emily will be presenting on that. We'll work through some of these things. So yes, committee before you is 2025-15, the planning report. And we just gave a brief overview of some of the works that the planning department has been completing. So again, we have hosted 6 pre-consultations where the township is the approval authority on the planning application. That being said, we actually have a full docket for tomorrow as well. So before the end of the month, that number continues to grow, and we're already booking through into the next month. So again, there are lots of planning applications and future development that looks like it's planned for this township. We attended just one county-led pre-consultation. We do have 3 official plan amendments and zoning bylaw amendments happening at this time, but we have recently had 2 approved with 1 minor variance. And then we also have the 3 applications in for site plan approval, which is a longer process or more involved process for staff. And so again, as we see this, that usually is commercial projects. So again, it's nice to see the development that's happening within the township. Our township planner did attend the joint OPPI/CIP National Planning Conference. And so this conference spanned 4 days and covered a range of topics, which included housing for urban and rural communities, as well as transportation and mobility and Indigenous planning. And then staff also attended the inaugural meeting of the Lakefield Network Study, which again has to do with the growth, the anticipated growth that the county is forecasted for that area, and just how the transportation network is going to work there, and where some of the new infrastructure can be held. And so we still have the 3 ongoing subdivision files. The one that I'd probably point to, most of them are the same except the Clancy subdivision, as we call it, so 15T 21,006. We expect to see that the zoning bylaw amendment public meeting will be brought forward to council at the 2nd meeting in September. That's what we anticipate. And again, any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you very much. Any comments, questions? Oh, Martina.
Sorry, through you, Chair. Don, could you just repeat the Clancy subdivision? Is it the bylaw itself? Or is there a public meeting as well? I'm sorry.
I believe there's a public meeting. It's a zoning bylaw amendment. I could double check that. I apologize if I'm wrong. But it's to get the lots zoned appropriately. And so I believe it's still part of I believe it still has a public meeting. Good or no?
Oh, okay, sorry. All right, any other comments, questions? Seeing none. Don? Setbacks from your property line or the road. Oh, so let's say, I'm going to use me as an example, kind of like that, but I mean, I'm way back, whatever like that, but I believe it's 15 meters back from either your property line or the edge of the road, or I'm not quite sure on that, but is it the same, like if you're in a house in the country or a house here in the village, like a lot of houses in the village here wouldn't have 50 feet of setback. They could be past their house if they wanted to put an attached garage on, kind of like that. How does that work without, gouging people for a minor variance to clear that up? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, through the chair, thank you. It is a portion of our zoning bylaw that does speak to, there's many different setbacks. There is a portion on setbacks to roadways, so whether it's a municipal road, a county road, or a highway. There are different setbacks for those as well. And then there's site-specific zoning or setbacks as well. So I do believe that the 15 meters is across the township, if I remember correctly, in our zoning bylaw. Again,
Just to support the manager of development services. So in the zone standards, so each of the zones have their own standards. And there will be a front yard setback for each one of those. So it'll be dependent on what zone. So recognizing that a rural property out in rural, outside of one of our settlement areas, maybe zone one thing in particular that has a particular front yard setback attached to it versus a lot in the settlement area of Warsaw might have a very different front yard setback from the roadway. And then as Don has suggested, it also is contingent on the road that it fronts and who's responsible for said road, and then those types of things as well. So there's lots of different factors that go into determining this particular setback, and usually those are all generally contained within our comprehensive zoning bylaw. If you have a resident that has a question about that, they're always welcome to seek some clarification from the folks downstairs. They'd be very happy to help.
All right, thank you. Yeah, and I don't have one in particular, but I mean, looking from Quirk's Garage up past the fire hall to the corner, like a lot of those houses are very, very close to the road. If they wanted to put a garage on, like it's going to be past the back end of the house, kind of like that with the 15-meter thing. So that's kind of where my question came from. So no one in particular, that was just a everyday question. But anyway, thank you very much. Is there any other comments, questions on the committee? Don, you're back on.
to the chair, if I can, zoning is nuanced, but there is something that's an established building line. So for developments that don't have that setback because historically they weren't there, it is something that can be reviewed as well. So I understand where the question comes from, but I think it is so nuanced to every parcel of land that it would be hard to speak to kind of a blanket statement.
All right, thank you very much. I will entertain a motion to receive with thanks. Deputy Mayor Nelson. Mayor Watson, any other comments, questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Well, that concludes our committee of the whole meeting as far as the departmental updates and the extra one that we had for the strategic planning. So moving on, any new business for the next committee of the whole meeting, please have it in a timely manner to our clerk, deputy CAO, and she will make sure that it's on the agenda. And what would you like, a couple weeks before the meeting be sufficient?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the deadline for committee of the whole is the Wednesday prior to the meeting. So that's a week prior, but earlier is always best.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, moving forward. We have no closed session. So other than that, I guess I will take a motion to adjourn the meeting at 11:57. Councilor Landsman, Deputy Mayor Nelson, all in favor? Carried. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you all for attending in the meeting. And if there's ever any questions, staff are always here to answer. So thank you very much.